how they stack up. Moore is much younger. Duran with the experience. Moore 5'10", will have the height edge. They're both just under the junior middleweight limit of 154. And Moore with the 4 1/4 inch reach advantage. We'll see how he uses it. There is the Panamanian legend, Roberto Duran. And across the ring, a man, Tony, who may have had to go through immigration to get to Madison Square Garden.
Davey Moore grew up not too far where I grew up from in the Bronx, and he's a minor legend in the Bronx because he made good. But here's a chance to put himself on the world stage by beating a revered legend in Roberto Duran.
Duran coming in off the loss to Leonard. Off a few uninspired performances, had been discarded by the boxing world. Then went into the offices of Top Rank, was given a second chance by Teddy Brenner, the matchmaker, who prevailed upon Bob Arum, the president of Top Rank, to give Duran another shot. And Duran responded, has come back and recaptured some old form, but at a higher weight.
He finally, it seems like he's focused again, and they call him the hands of stone, but here's a chance for him to work the body on Davey Moore. This is a homecoming for Roberto Duran. He won the title, a lightweight title, against Ken Buchanan in this ring. He got his first professional loss against Esteban de Jesus in this ring, and here he goes for another title in the same Madison Square Garden ring against Davey Moore. Now, Davey Moore is a lot quicker than Roberto Duran, but he's letting Duran set the pace. Duran has gone to the body a couple of times, which if you look at the two body structures, Davey Moore looks a little thinner, even though they weighed the same. Duran, a little more weight around his middle, but it's to absorb the blows.
Moore with the jab on the outside, Duran coming inside. Moore winning the junior middleweight championship after only a handful of fights. So from a professional experience, he yields a lot to Duran, who comes in, lands a short right hand. Moore with a good uppercut.
They're rumbling inside, and that's more Roberto Duran's fight.
Duran loves it. Uppercut, then he holds on. Duran, even at 154, has all the guile, just not quite the speed that he did when he was one of the most murderous lightweights who ever lived. So Duran in his advanced weight class, a good first round against Davey Moore. Roberto Duran and Davey Moore set for round 2. This is Dave Fontempo along with Tony Page. The site, Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing and an electric atmosphere.
Surprising to see people standing in the background and nobody's saying down in front. Everyone is just peeking between people just to see these guys. Duran is right in front of Davey Moore. Moore is a better boxer than this. He should be moving to make the old man Duran move a little more.
But Duran is such an expert at tying up and doing so many of the little tricks.
And he takes a tremendous shot, which a lot of people forget, and they overlook that. He can get inside and take one of your shots just so he can land one of those pulverizing left hooks to the belly or bring it up to the head. You can see Moore is laboring every time he gets hit to the body by a Duran shot.
Duran very patient, looks very fit here. And though the hand speed might be down a bit, he gets the big right hand in, and Moore is hurt.
He's clinching, Dave. He got popped to the body and the head.
The quickness of Duran setting up the right hand, and he is a tremendous puncher at any weight. And Roberto Duran going to the body and showing his experience here.
I mean, he's just pounding on Davey Moore. Moore needs to spin, get off the ropes. He's trying to, it's almost like a slugfest right now, and that's not Davey Moore's fight.
The only problem Davey Moore has is he's in against a legend.
A legend with a big left hook.
And Duran takes a good hook from Moore, who found some space, but now Moore is breathing heavily. He takes a big shot, and Duran just very good on the inside against Davey Moore here, just taking it to him. This is a mugging.
Oh, he spun him around. That was such a slick move, and Davey Moore was surprised that he was against the ropes.
Duran working that body. Good hook by Roberto Duran, weighing down the bigger opponent, and Davey Moore needs to be on the outside, and the Duran chants erupting from the throng at Madison Square Garden, the revered icon, Roberto Duran, off to a blazing start against Davey Moore. And a little bit of extra activity, and Moore says to Duran, go to your corner. So what if there's a language barrier? The sign language works.
All right, listen, baby. What's your strategy? Give me hit with some punches I don't like.
Reach for your mouth.
Bring him in. Bring him up under.
Both fighters trying to throw uppercuts to do some damage here. Look at Moore's mouth wide open. Takes a good shot. And look, he's backed up by Duran. Roberto Duran did the right thing. He jumped in there, saw the opening. Davey Moore did the right thing and clinched because he was hurt.
Moore able to come back after Duran got him, and then something after the bell to show his fire. And then watch Duran look at him, and then he says, over there, in whatever language he wants. Roberto Duran speaking English and Spanish. So we start the third round, and the crowd being treated to a vintage display by Roberto Duran, going after what would be his third title. Roberto Duran laying the leather to Davey Moore, the reigning WBA junior middleweight championship, in Moore's backyard of Madison Square Garden. But the throngs are out here adoring the master, Roberto Duran, and he's off to a blazing start, Tony.
He's doing everything right. He took one solid shot from Davey Moore. It didn't do anything. In fact, he spun Moore after that punch and continued to beat him up. Davey Moore's taken some tremendous shots to the body, right eye. This is an old-fashioned butt whipping that Roberto Duran is dropping on Davey Moore. This is back to the days when Roberto Duran was a lightweight and just tore through guys, and that's what he was, a sparring contest. They would have gotten Davey Moore out of the ring and just said, you don't have it today, come back tomorrow. Moore's got his game, but he just doesn't seem to have a game plan. He's got to throw some punches to slow Duran down, or at least move to make Duran move. Right now, he's staying right close to Duran and not fighting back. And when he does, he gets beat to the punch and gets beat badly as Duran continues to tattoo that body.
Duran looks in great shape, and he's turning back the clock, showing some vintage hand speed. I mean, we saw him look bad against the likes of guys like Kirkland Lang and others when he was uninspired. But when Duran wants to fight, Duran waging a clinic against Davey Moore as we start round 5. The WBA junior middleweight championship that Moore has is on the line and in severe jeopardy.
Davey Moore's legs very wide apart, like he's trying to feel the canvas. That doesn't bode well. If Duran comes rushing in, he's going to be hard-pressed to back away from him. Look at Moore's right eye slowly closing.
Duran returning to old form. You just cannot give him any advantage at all. And here he is, tactically superior over Moore, and a big right hand by Roberto Duran.
Well, Moore has to do so much to try and win this fight now. He has to start an offense. Maybe it's just a basic left jab and move. Just score some points. I mean, I have Duran winning every round. It's 40-36, a shutout.
Not only that, but Duran is hurting Davey Moore with these shots. And as you suggest, that Moore should be on the outside and just change the momentum a little bit.
Because you're giving Roberto Duran a chance to be Roberto Duran. You're just staying in front of him. You're not giving him any angles. You're not backing away to make the old man walk toward you. And even when Davey Moore does land a good shot, nothing happens.
And there are 2 more attempts by Davey Moore. He gets inside and again is fighting Duran's fight. Moore holding, unloads a couple, but Duran with the head movement. Moore does land a good right, and Duran comes back.
It's a good round for Davey Moore, but he's paying the price by just staying right in front of Duran. Duran lets you land about 6 punches, then he starts to come on.
And the explosive atmosphere at Madison Square Garden for that man, Roberto Duran as we start round 6. Dave Bontempo along with Tony Page, the site Madison Square Garden for the WBA Junior Middleweight Championship. And Tony, between rounds, a little surprising, they did not tell Davey Moore to stay outside.
They said change the tactics a little bit, but didn't give him any instructions on how to change the tactics. And, you know, you ask a fighter, are you hurt or you're okay? What's he going to say? Yeah, I'm really hurt. I don't think we should continue. Fighter's going to stay in there, but the corner has to give him something. You got to give him a blueprint so he can at least attempt to follow it. He should have told him, Leon Washington, his trainer, should have said, stay outside, use the jab, buy some time so you can get some rest. You should be able to understand when your fighter is tiring, and Davey Moore doesn't really have a lot in his gas tank.
And you shouldn't be asking Davey Moore if he's tired. You're exactly right. And, you know, that's not changing tactics a little bit to tell him to stay outside. That's a radical departure, and that's what was needed. So Davey Moore continues in the dark here as Duran lands a big right hand.
You have to be prepared for the best, and as I always like to say, a couple of different game plans. If you stay inside and you get beat to the punch, you go outside. You keep changing up. You try and confuse the guy. And Davey Moore is making it so easy for Duran by staying in front of him and taking a pounding. Look at that face.
Just working him over. This is a man against a boy at this point. The old Duran has shown up and absolutely doing a wonderful job to the body, the hook to the head, sneering at Davey Moore, unleashing some intimidation to go with the beating. Now Moore explodes, but he's in Duran's territory.
And all Duran has to do is move a quarter turn, and he's still in position to hit Moore, like right there. Davey is in no position to fire back. Davey Moore doesn't know enough to move around to get away from Duran's power.
Duran, round 7, Roberto Duran and Davey Moore. Duran trying to capture his 3rd world title. This for the 154-pound division of the WBA, and he is off to a tremendous start. Absolutely looking like the master against Davey Moore, who is gutsy but outgunned.
Davey Moore is showing a lot of heart, and that's what gets a fighter hurt. The heart is fine, but if you're not going to put any punches behind it, you got a problem. He hasn't been able to slow down Duran. He hasn't been able to show a different tactics or what he does when he gets inside and goes outside. He just stays in front of Duran, throws feeble punches, and then Duran just tees off on him.
Davey Moore is not getting his left hand up there and doing the damage as much. It's coming back. He is wide open for right hand counters. He's getting caught to the body. Duran finds numerous openings, and he is just wearing Davey Moore down.
And we talk about strategy of fighters. Davey Moore had the wrong strategy. He went to slug body to body to Roberto Duran, one of the best body punchers in a long, long time. He lost that battle, but there's no other plan. Now he's sore. He's trying to stay outside and work his punches, but because Duran worked his body, Moore doesn't have the quickness in his hands anymore.
Now if you're Davey Moore is in, but Davey Moore is on the inside here, and he is in deep trouble.
He needs to, it's funny, what Davey Moore should be doing is using his legs, but Roberto Duran took those away in the first couple of rounds by pounding that body. Now all Davey Moore has is shots to Duran's body, which aren't doing any damage.
And Davey Moore is losing the sight out of his left eye. It's closing. Duran is all over him. Body shots by Duran. Moore is wobbled, and Moore is holding on and totally exhausted.
Not a lot left from Davey Moore as he takes hellacious punches from Roberto Duran.
They'll have to think about stopping this. Seconds to go in round 7. Moore in deep trouble. Roberto Duran closing in. The crowd is on its feet. Duran unloading a clinic here on Davey Moore. Moore is holding on.
You're wondering what's keeping Moore up. You're wondering why the referee hasn't considered stopping this, because Roberto Duran is teeing off on Davey Moore.
And down he goes. Not much holding him up now. He'll have to get up. He hears the count. He barely makes it. And Davey Moore will make it to the end of round 7. But what a titanic price he will pay as Duran is all over him. And they really should stop this now.
No need for it to continue.
Let's see what they say in Davey Moore's corner.
Here's Roberto Duran trying to tee off, set the punch up, missed with the left, landed with the right. Down goes Moore.
And that's a combination of the power of Duran and the fatigue of Davey Moore. He catches him on the button, too, and then the big shot. With all the leverage coming forward.
Look, he just missed him with the left, caught him with the right. There's really no need for this fight to continue. Moore has nothing left.
Absolutely none. But if you look in the corner, they have not stopped this. And for Davey Moore, a terrible decision made in his corner.
His corner should have said no, throwing the towel in. There's nothing he can do.
Moore is not throwing anything back, and he is just taking, that's at least 10 unanswered punches now that he doesn't need to take. And Roberto Duran is absolutely destroying Davey Moore in this fight, and who knows what he's doing to the future of Davey Moore.
The referee should have stopped this about, a minute ago. Big right hand.
Referee's looking closer, but Moore holds on, and look at these shots by Roberto Duran. Why is this fight still going on?
His corner should be in there just walking in. Even if it gets him disqualified, you save the fighter. Look at him. There's nothing left. But he's got a big heart, and that's what gets fighters in trouble. They're not going to quit.
Davey Moore has thrown nothing in this round, just taking shot after shot. And what will it take for this to end? What do they need to see?
This referee's a disgrace. This should have been started. There's Jose Torres on the lower left. Former light heavyweight champion, begging him to stop the fight.
And that's what he does. The referee does not stop it. He takes instructions. There's the towel thrown in, which came from the other side of the ring. Referee did not even see this.
Bad move by the referee. That's the kind of... Stop it.
So, a terrible finish for Davey Moore, and for Roberto Duran, a third title has been annexed, and we're ready to hear the particulars. So Roberto Duran annexes his third title, and despite the end, which was disastrous, Tony, he deserves his credit.
Oh, Roberto Duran still has the skill, still has the power.